Good morning, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today, I just moved the bulls into a fresh paddock, and we're closing in, closing in on sale day. Today is May 24th, so we've got 3, 7, 8. Got 8 days left before the customers show up to start picking out their bulls. And they're really putting on weight. It's crazy how much they've slicked off just in the last 2 to 3 days. There's the younger ones, the yearlings, which are just now a year old. Some of them would barely be a year old. Some of them are probably 11 months. Anyway, you can tell the young ones are always a little more shaggier than the 2 and 3 year old bulls. But I wanted to show you something. I came here this morning finding some really nice manure pads. That is just a beaut. And there's a frog. Frog's a long ways from the pond. You're gonna end up in a bird's belly if you're not careful, frog. Anyway, I wanted to show you this. Check this out. I don't want to disturb it too much, but that is the, oh my gosh, he's over here too. I mean, that dung beetle is doing some serious excavating. So what's happened here is that the female dung beetle has rolled up a ball of dung and has dug a deep, deep hole, and I'm not gonna mess with that. I could pull that back and show you the hole, but I'm not gonna do it. Anyway, the dung beetles are eating the fly larvae. There's some little ones there, look at that, right on top of the ground. Look at them. Folks, those are the dwellers. See, this manure pad is barely, but it wouldn't even be 24 hours old yet. Look at them. This is what happens when you don't pour Ivermectin on your cattle. They're going down there and they're digging holes and they're desiccating that manure pad. And if they can get it desiccated fast enough, you don't have any fly larvae. See, the flies are laying eggs on that. And so it's a race between the dung beetles and the flies. The quicker the dung beetles can desiccate that manure pad, the less likely you're gonna have flies hatching out and sucking the blood out of your cattle. That is so cool. Look at that little guy. See, the dung beetles live on the manure slurpee. That is one big pile of dung. So the beetle that did that, he's gonna be, from that knuckle down to the tip of my finger. That's a big beetle, folks, because this is clay. You don't dig in clay if you're a wimp. You gotta have some diggers on you. And right over here is another one. So we're starting to see a lot more digging. Again, I'm not gonna mess with that manure pile because I don't want to run him off, but tomorrow, oh, there goes another dweller. You saw his little butt disappear down in there. You can see that the flies, they're here. And I think we need to question what we're doing. You know, if you're pouring Ivermectin on your cattle to get rid of the parasites, you're killing all the dung beetles. Because the dung beetles come along and eat this, and then you wipe them out, and now you've got flies that are decimating your cow health. You know, from just the stress on your cows. I think that's pretty cool. I'd love to be able to come out here. I know in Oklahoma, on Walt Davis's ranch when he was alive and kicking, Pat Richardson talked about she could go out there like 8 o'clock in the morning and there was not a single manure pad left. The dung beetles had incorporated all of them into the soil. And consequently, Walt didn't have any flies on his cattle. I wonder why. Yeah. And yet we're being taught we gotta buy all this crap to pour all over our cows to stay in business. And the whole time they laugh. The input people just laugh and take your money and they go to town and they buy a new Corvette with it. Or a new house or whatever. And you're sitting out here with your pocketbook empty and your cows are dependent on you pouring wormer on their back every 6 months so that they can survive. And if you just let them build up resistance, you can get away with not even worming them. We haven't wormed in 23 years. And our animals are still alive. Occasionally you'll see one with a dirty tail that doesn't clean up. And for whatever reason, that animal can't build up resistance, you get rid of them. Just sell them. But to wholesale, get your cows up and just go through the whole herd and pour Ivermectin down their back, that's one of the dumbest moves you can make. It really is. It doesn't make sense to do that. I guess if you want to give all your sense to town, you can keep doing that, and eventually you will go broke. Because see, the manure coming out of those cows and the urine, anything you pour on the back of your animals, it ends up in those manure pads, and so you're killing the soil biology. And not only that, the manure piles are no longer breaking down. They're there for 2 to 3 years. And so you're not even growing any grass with them. You're not even growing any grass because the manure pads are still right where the cow put them. And they poop, 3-4 times a day. They're covering up 4 square foot of your pasture with a manure pad that nothing will eat. Now you tell me, does that make sense? I'll leave it up to you. I know the answer. In my situation, it doesn't make sense. But there's pretty good diversity in here. There's orchard grass. Yeah, there's fescue. There's Sericea lespedeza. There's buckbrush. There's ironweed. There's a goldenrod. There's some giant ragweed coming on. There's some autumn olive right here. You name it. And so the bulls, oh, there's some red clover. There's some white clover. And here's the trees we planted several years ago. They were supposed to be thornless. Now this one doesn't have any thorns on it. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So what we did is every cage that we planted these in, we came back this year and we put in white oak trees. We bought some white oaks and we put 2. Put 2 trees in every cage, about 100 white oaks. And I figured, if they all make it, I can cut out the lesser trees. But I wanted to make sure I got a tree in here. So this guy here will be taken out because it's got thorns on it, possibly. And we'll let the white oak go. And we did put down a heavy wood mulch to keep the fescue from killing out our trees. But white oaks are native to this area. We've got tons of white oaks and they make a really good shade. They do drop acorns for the wildlife and the cattle. As long as we're moving them, it's not going to be an issue. If you park cattle under white oaks, a whole pasture full of them, where there's hundreds of trees, that can be an issue in the fall when they're dropping green acorns. But I'll take the shade. I love a big oak tree. That's an oak right there, 150 feet tall. That is a water oak. And the tree beside it that died, That's a black oak. It's getting ready to fall down. It's probably gonna fall on the fence. Need to get that sucker taken care of. See, the bulls are going to water down there on our rock skirt. They're gonna be here 24 hours, and then we got a cattle drive in the morning. We're gonna take them out that gate up to buy those bales. Those are bales that we had left over from last winter. And they'll definitely be fed next winter. But that's another reason to store them up on logs. Every one of those bales has got two 8-inch logs underneath them. So the bales are not setting on the ground. If they're setting on the ground, you wouldn't have any left. You wouldn't have any bale hardly left to feed the second year. It would have all rotted into the ground. So for the cost of hay, what it costs to put up hay, mow it, rake it, bale it, buy it, whatever, you need to watch how you store it, folks. Just take a few minutes and get it up off the ground. Put it on a pallet, put it up on poles, or if you got an old barn around, put it in a barn, whatever. There's a big stock trailer. And they're hauling. I got to show you. This guy had a beautiful fescue field over here. He decided he's gonna be him a crop farmer out here in this thin clay. And so he plowed it. Look at that. My goodness. I would hate to, he's growing a good crop of wild onions. I would hate to think that I plowed up a beautiful fescue field and did that. Ugh. There's no biology left in that soil. I think it's been cropped now for about 6 years. You could go out to the spade and dig until your feet fell off. You wouldn't find a worm in that 30-acre field anywhere. There's no soil life in there. And yet, this is how we're going to feed the world with GMO crap. I mean crops. Yeah. You want to believe that lie, go ahead. I think this is where it's at. Keeping the ground covered, capturing the rainwater, growing grass with solar energy, no fossil fuel. You talk about green energy, right there it is. Everything is covered with a green plant and a diversity. I'm not crazy about all the plants out there, but you know what? Don't tell the bulls that, they're gonna eat it. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out here this morning. Everyone have a good one. And I am going to be posting our Canada trip soon. We're doing 9 schools there beginning in June. So I think our first one's on the 11th or the 12th. And we'll be there the whole month of June up in the Alberta area. So we're looking forward to that and meeting up with the Canadians. We always enjoy our time in Canada. Some really neat folks up there. Folks, have a good one, and we'll see y'all down the road.